Imagine an empire on its knees, its gods desecrated, its traditions shattered. This was Egypt after the reign of the heretic king Akhenaten. He had cast out 1,000 years of worship, replacing the pantheon of gods with a single sun disk, the Aten. His revolution plunged the kingdom into chaos, and after his death, a series of weak and short-lived pharaohs, including the famous boy king Tutankhamun, struggled to piece the broken kingdom back together. The old ways were dying, and Egypt desperately needed a savior. From the dust of this turmoil, a new power began to rise. Not a prince born to a throne, but a soldier forged in battle. His name was Horemheb. He was a man of humble origins, a commoner who rose through the ranks of the military on sheer talent, strategic genius, and unwavering loyalty not to a single king, but to the idea of Egypt itself. He was the commander-in-chief of the armies, the most powerful man in the kingdom who didn't wear a crown. While the royal court played its dangerous games of succession, Horemheb was on the frontiers, securing the borders and earning the fierce loyalty of his men. He was the silent guardian, the strong arm Egypt desperately needed. As a general, Horemheb wielded immense influence. Under Tutankhamun, he was the true power behind the throne. While the young pharaoh performed the ceremonies, Horemheb ran the country. He issued edicts, managed the military, and began the slow, arduous process of restoring the old gods and their temples. He understood that to save Egypt, he had to erase the memory of Akhenaten's heresy and bring back the stability of tradition. His name appeared on monuments and decrees, a sign of his undeniable authority. He was a king in all but name, patiently waiting for his destiny to unfold. The death of Tutankhamun at just 19 years old sent shock waves through the empire. With no clear heir, the throne was vulnerable. It was a moment Horemheb could have seized. He had the army, the administration, and the people's respect, yet he didn't. Instead, an elderly courtier, a man named A, who had also served under Akhenaten, stepped in and became pharaoh. It's one of history's great mysteries why Horemheb allowed this. Perhaps A had a stronger claim, or perhaps Horemheb, the master strategist, knew that his time had not yet come. He understood that true power isn't always seized. Sometimes it's granted by fate, so Horemheb waited. He continued to serve as the commander of the armies under Pharaoh A, a silent, watchful presence. A's reign was short, lasting only about 4 years. He was old when he took the throne, and he left no heir to succeed him. With his death, the 18th Dynasty, the lineage of legendary pharaohs like Thutmose III and Amenhotep III, finally came to an end. Egypt was once again without a leader. The power vacuum was absolute. This time, there was no one left to stand in the way. The nation turned its eyes to the one man who had been a constant source of strength and stability for decades, the general Horemheb. Now his moment had arrived. The path to the throne was clear. But Horemheb, ever the master of presentation, didn't just take it. He orchestrated a divine coronation. He claimed that the god Horus of Hatsinu had chosen him, presenting him to Amun, the king of the gods, who then proclaimed him pharaoh. This oracle of Amun was a piece of political genius. It bypassed his commoner birth and gave him the ultimate legitimacy, the will of the gods themselves. He married A's daughter, Mut-Nejmet, further solidifying his claim by linking himself to the fading royal line. The soldier had finally become a king, not through blood, but through divine mandate and decades of loyal service. Once on the throne, Pharaoh Horemheb unleashed the full force of his reforming zeal. His primary mission was to completely eradicate the Amarna period, the time of Akhenaten's heresy, from history. He issued a great edict, a sweeping set of laws aimed at stamping out corruption among officials, which had become rampant in the preceding decades. He punished dishonest tax collectors, corrupt soldiers, and unjust judges with extreme prejudice. His laws were designed to restore the divine principle of order, truth, and justice to the land. He was not just a ruler, he was a restorer, a cleanser of a tarnished kingdom. Horemheb's campaign to erase Akhenaten and his successors was ruthless and systematic. He ordered the dismantling of the temples to the Aten. The stones were reused as filler material in his own massive building projects at Karnak and Luxor. He sent teams of workers across Egypt to chisel out the names of Akhenaten, Tutankhamun, and from every monument, temple, and tomb they could find. In their place, he inscribed his own name. In the official records, Horemheb presented his reign as immediately following that of Amenhotep III, effectively wiping 3 pharaohs from history. This act of damnatio memoria, the condemnation of memory, was so thorough that for thousands of years, the world forgot that kings like Tutankhamun had ever existed. As a military man, Horemheb also understood the importance of a strong, secure empire. He launched campaigns into Nubia to the south and the Levant to the north, reasserting Egyptian dominance that had weakened during the Amarna period. He reorganized the army, dividing it into 2 main corps stationed in the north and south, each commanded by one of his trusted deputies. One of these deputies was a man named Ramesses, a fellow soldier who would later become his chosen successor. Horemheb was not just rebuilding Egypt's faith and society. He was rebuilding its strength, ensuring that the chaos he had lived through would never happen again. Horemheb ruled for nearly 3 decades, a long and stable reign that laid the foundation for Egypt's next great era, the Ramesside period. Having no surviving son of his own, he chose his vizier and fellow military man, Ramesses, to succeed him. In a move that secured the future of the kingdom, he appointed Ramesses as his co-regent, giving him the royal name Ramesses. When Horemheb died, this man ascended the throne as Ramesses I, founding the powerful 19th dynasty, the dynasty of Seti I and Ramesses the Great. The commoner general had not only saved Egypt, but had also established a new line of warrior kings who would lead Egypt to its final golden age. His legacy was secure. Today, Horemheb is often called the forgotten warrior king, overshadowed by the glamour of Tutankhamun's treasure and the legend of Ramesses the Great. But without him, none of that might have been possible. He was the bridge between a broken past and a brilliant future. He was the man who stepped out of the shadows, not to seize power for himself, but to restore order to a world gone mad. He was a general, a restorer, and a pharaoh who proved that true royalty isn't always inherited sometimes. It's earned through courage, wisdom, and an unwavering love for one's country. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back to ancient Egypt, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into history. See you next time.